declaring victory. And how does it feel to have won this runoff kind of so decisively, especially considering that after the primary, Super Tuesday, it seemed kind of close, given that there was a third candidate in the race.
Right. No, I mean, it's very good, but it was as I've said from before, it's a full team effort. It was all my friends, supporters, family, everybody getting out to get the word out, and I knew that the truth about what I have done in this community would come out, and people realize that I'm actually trying to better everything, and that's what I've done for the last 3 decades. So it's very, very nice to be rewarded, not just for me, but for all of us to have that out there.
Okay, yeah, and kind of what have you learned in this primary and then the subsequent runoff that you think will kind of help you when you get to the general election? Are there any lessons you've learned so far?
Oh, yeah, I've learned a lot, especially coming in and not having I mean, I was elected to the school board, but you don't go through all the same processes to do that. So I have learned a lot. The biggest thing we've gotten from this whole deal, and my wife and I agreed, was like we made some friends we wouldn't have ever met, and they're like lifelong friends now. But I think the relationships is kind of the biggest thing of knowing what to do, because how else are you going to represent people if you don't have those relationships, especially in all the different communities they're involved in this large of a district.
Okay, yeah, and what are some of the differences so far from having run from the school board to running for a statewide office?
So driving, travel
Yeah,
would be number one. But it's really, there's a lot of similarities between the different counties, but we each have our own idiosyncrasies that make us who we are. And so it's getting to learn those things that are important in those communities and issues that they have that they need to look after, so that way they're represented correctly. So, because the same issues we have in Huntsville are not going to be the same things you have in Chapel Hill or Anderson. So that information being given to me and learning more about it is kind of the critical thing, and it's actually been kind of fun to learn about. So.
Okay, yeah, definitely. And how key was Governor Abbott's support in winning this primary and the runoff?
No, I think it was critical to have his support. They helped quite a bit, but it got my name out there more, so that other people that weren't familiar with me could learn faster and more about who I was. But it was critical to have Governor Abbott's support.
Yeah, and similarly, especially for Brazos County, how important was kind of Slocum's endorsement, since he had been in the race, and of course his name is well known in Brazos County?
Yeah, no, I think that was another critical one on a local perspective. But as I said before, I mean, John Harvey and I, and my wife and his wife, we all became friends during the process, and that was kind of the fun thing about it. And so we actually ran a gentleman's campaign against each other. I mean, we were actually, bumping each other after we would say something in the forum, going, "Hey, good job." And we were like, okay, we're running for the same spot, but we don't have anything against each other. And so it was critical to have his support, but I also enjoyed his friendship.
Okay, yeah. And for your campaign, both Abbott and then the TLR PAC were big supporters of you. And so do you think at all that they're going to have any sway over the decisions you make as a representative if you're elected after the general election?
I'm here to represent the district, the people in this district first. And that's the way I will operate, and they're aware of that. And so that's who elected me in order to look after them and be their voice, and that's who I'm going to look after.
Okay, great. And kind of what are the next steps for your campaign?
The next step is leave town for a few days, rest a little bit. We do have another election coming up in November, but I'll be traveling the district anyway and building a legislative package and finding out more areas that we need to be aware of, how we can help and things to make sure we look after. That's the next step, but I'll be still going through the district and meeting with people and going to events and getting to know them. And the biggest thing is I want them to get to know me and my wife at the same time, because that's how you feel a camaraderie, and I want them to know that I actually do care. So.
Okay, yeah. And you mentioned you're going to have an old-fashioned kind of in celebration. What are your plans to kind of celebrate having won this prize?
So my wife has said it for quite a while now. I owe her a trip.
Yeah.
So we're gonna kind of go off the grid for a week or so. Our daughter gets married this Saturday, and so then we'll do something for the two of us after that. So
Okay.
But that's it right now.
Okay, awesome. That was all the questions I had. Was there anything
Right.
you might have said in your speech that I might have missed?
No, the only thing I would have said was I appreciate all the support, the families, everybody that's helped out, the block walking, the calls, the text messages. We couldn't have done it without them. This has been a grassroots campaign from day one. That's kind of the way I work, and I always say, my wife and I and both our kids were college athletes, so athletics is a big deal. So I've said this has been a full team effort, and it literally was. And it's like I did not do this for me at all. I did this for us to be represented, and so I'm looking forward to working with and working for the people in this district.
Okay, awesome.
So